5 years ago, I started a 3-year trip around the world. And my main goal of this trip was sure to have experiences, but specifically to connect with other people. And of course, I wanted to connect with other travelers, but more so the locals. I wanted to learn about their culture. I wanted to experience what they experienced and overall just live more so like how they would live. And without a doubt, the #1 way that I did this was finding incredibly cheap street food. So today, in an effort to reconnect with New Yorkers and also, of course, eat delicious street food, I'm going to be finding the best dollar street food all around New York City. Let's go. Now, the only thing about cheap street food, and specifically dollar street food, is it's incredibly hard to find. Normally they're like mom and pop shops that only people in that specific area actually know about. However, since I'm a local of Chinatown, well, actually specifically this is Little Italy, but everywhere around it's basically Chinatown. I do know a few places to start off this dollar street food journey. So the plan is to basically start at those places that I know, and then after that kind of improvise depending on the tips from the locals or the owners. What is the 4 for $1?
Fresh tofu.
Ah, the fresh tofu?
Yep.
Okay. Is there something that I could just eat?
The noodle, rice noodle.
Ah, the rice noodle.
Yeah.
Ah, this is 75 cents here?
$75.
Ah, okay.
This have a taste. This is no taste.
Ah, okay. This is
shrimp, right? Yeah, only the scallion and dry
This is a good taste here?
Yeah, it's better for you.
It's better? Okay, yeah, it looks better, yeah. Okay, cool. I'll go with this then.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so the first dollar street food that'll start our journey today is a bag of fresh-made rice noodles. The rice noodles come in a 12-ounce bag format, and the actual consistency of these rice noodles is quite on the thicker side, actually. The rice noodles also have a little bit of chives on them, and also topped with soy sauce. For me, going to that place to start off, it's the exact thing that I'm looking for all throughout today. It's homemade fresh food that really is only known by the locals. But anyway, this was the recommendation of the other customer there at the time, so I'm excited to dive into this. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I should eat this. I was given a spoon, but the noodles are like freaking massive. Like, I think I'm gonna have to go with my hand here. Just take a look at that thing. Oh, nothing beats a fresh homemade noodle. If you just take a look at those noodles, you can see all the little layers and all the perfect imperfections of each noodle. Now, in terms of the taste here, it's quite basic. There's not really much of taste on the noodle itself, but when combined with that soy sauce and those scallions, it makes for a flavor that's both fresh and satisfying and also smooth and delicious. But anyway, now I'm a little bit stuck with, I guess, my options and where I should go. Like, of course, I know other dollar foods, but I want something that's, I guess, like more unique, something that's through another local's eye. So right now I'm actually gonna go back to that tofu place and see if maybe they have a recommendation or know of another place that has dollar street food. Hey, I wanted to just ask, I was wondering if you knew any places that also had like dollar street food.
Oh, you want to eat a noodle, right?
Just like dollar street food, yeah.
Dollar.
Yeah.
They have a one car over there. I don't know they have a noodle or not.
Okay.
Probably not the dollar. In Frozen, probably not in Chinatown. In Bowley Street, they have a one over there.
They have a bus to...
Yeah, bus go Frozen. You can go over there. They have a van.
Better than the subway? Or
Not Subway.
it's better than the subway?
Faster.
Ah, it's fast?
You just go over there, ask, they will tell you.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I
welcome.
appreciate it. Bye. Okay, so this day is completely going to be full of spontaneity and just going with the flow. The place she mentioned of Flushing's is actually on pretty much the other side of New York City. Normally I would take the subway and it would be almost like an hour to get there, but the means that she mentioned is one that I never knew was possible before she mentioned it. And that's a bus company that's not run by the city at all, but run by just a private Chinese company. And it's supposedly a lot faster to get there, and I'm not necessarily sure where the bus is, but she kind of gave me like a general direction. So hopefully I can catch the next one. I think I see them. Is there another seat? No? Flushing? At first I thought that guy was like, no cameras on this bus. Just to like beep at me, like say like, no, you have to go this way, this way, this way. There is no online resources about this at all. to flush it? Thank you. This is so cool.
Take a minute to refrain from acting green. If you're losing, you should join another team. Y'all should breathe, let me play another theme. At the start, this one nothing but a dream. Now it feels like victory. About to live another fantasy. Everybody clap.
Thank you. I honestly can't believe that thing exists. I mean, you look around and all the seats are taped with duct tape. Newspapers were everywhere on the ground for some reason. In short, the coolest transportation I've ever taken in New York City. But anyway, at the tofu shop, the two women that were advising me on the bus company also told me two different places out here that they thought were dollar street food. So I'm headed to the first place right now, and let's just keep this adventure going. Scallion Pancake? Thank you. The Pecking duck? Yeah.
How many?
Just one. When did you change it to the 125? It was like $1 before? No.
Before $1.
Alright, so the ladies from the tofu shop absolutely did not disappoint me. The first place I went to, I got a Sesame Pancake. For the presentation, it looks pretty well made, and there also seems to be a pretty good amount of scallions in there. And also, it's worth noting that this first place I went to, literally their entire menu was either $1 or $2. Now, the second place that I went to, I've heard of before, but I've never actually gone inside. This is the famous Pecking duck roll. It starts off with a pretty good piece of duck under there, sliced cucumbers, and all put together with a bow. Now, I was a little bit disappointed because inside, I'm sure you guys saw it, but the price tag, it said $125. And the 25 was almost like just added onto the one. But anyway, $125 is still a pretty good deal, I feel, for this like incredible, absolutely amazing looking Pecking duck roll. Anyway, we just have so much food here, so let's just dive right in. Oh man. Just that first bite was worth the entire drive to Flushing. If you just take a look at that Pecking duck roll, you can see the freshness of that duck. And when combined with the fresh bao and the sauce, it makes for this like rich, but also sweet, but also just like combination of like starchy flavor that literally blows my mind. That is an incredible 125. All right, next up, this monstrosity of a Scallion Pancake. Okay. The consistency on it is everything in a Scallion Pancake. If you just take a look at the dough there, you can tell that it's quite fresh, making for a perfectly doughy flavor. However, there's one thing that kind of turned me off from it, and I'm not sure if like it's because I walked all the way from this place to the duck place, but the overall pancake itself was not crispy, was not flaky whatsoever. So although it had a pretty nice char on it, it didn't necessarily have the crispy flavor that you want. However, I'm not complaining at all. Those ladies at the tofu house gave me an absolutely incredible recommendation of this Pecking duck sandwich. All right, but anyway, now, you know, we've been to both Chinatowns of New York. And although Chinatown does have a very special place in my heart, I want to also explore different cuisines on this journey today. And it just so happens that Flushing's is about a 10-minute subway ride away from possibly one of the most diverse places on planet Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the coolest places on Earth, Jackson Heights. There's just about every culture you can think of that lives here, and there's over 167 languages spoken in just a few mile radius. Literally, when you take the subway from stop to stop here, you're going to a different country. And right now we're on about 80th Street, which is predominantly kind of like the Hispanic area. This area is one that you don't really know what you're gonna find for street food. Vendors tend to be individuals instead of kind of like businesses. So it kind of goes like day by day with who's outside and who's taking a break. But anyway, let's go find some street food. I am excited.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Súper bien, ¿y tú?
Qué bueno.
Ah, bueno. ¿Cómo se llama esta?
Obleas.
Esta es dulce.
Es caramelo, sí. Es dulce
Bueno.
de leche.
Ok.
Se le puede echar mora, se le puede echar queso.
Quiero uno.
De arequipe.
Ah, sí, arequipe.
Okay.
Sí, sí. Gracias. Oh my gosh, my Spanish is awful now. But just to give you guys a little bit of background, I used to live in Colombia with the sole purpose of learning Spanish. And I got to a state where I was pretty good at it. I was working in the city, I was volunteering, I was making friends. But oh my gosh, ever since I started to learn French, I combined Spanish with French. So anyway, street food she was selling is called an oblea, which is 2 wafers topped with any sort of spread that you want. And the spread that I picked is the absolutely delicious arequipa. Specific spread is basically Colombia's twist to a dulce de leche. So basically caramel and cream goodness. Oh man, I haven't had one of these since Colombia, so I am super excited to taste it. Holy crap. That is so epic. The fact that 2 very simple items can turn into something so good just blows my mind. It has that starchy and sweet flavor from the wafer, and combined with that absolute glue of the nutty, sweet, and almost bitter arequipa, it makes for this thing that looks so simple turn into an absolute flavor and also cultural experience. Oh, I honestly feel like I'm not in Queens. I feel like I'm back in Colombia right now. That was an absolutely amazing start to Jackson Heights. But like I said, Jackson Heights is made up by literally a list of different cultures. So right now we're gonna walk about 10 blocks over and enter into a completely, like utterly different cultural vibe. Alright, so welcome to 74th Street in Jackson Heights. And as you can see around me, we've gone from more of a Hispanic neighborhood to more of a Indian, Pakistani, Bengali, and also Tibetan neighborhood. And I don't know this neighborhood too well, so I'm not really sure on street vendors specifically, but I do know one of the most coolest located, most hole-in-the-wall restaurants I think I've ever discovered. So I think that kind of sticks with the vibe that we're going for in this video. Just check this place out. I'm just gonna get a lasa tingmo and butter tea. Thank you. Okay, so Fayal is one of the rare restaurants that offers multiple specialty goods for just $1. And since I'm not out here a lot, I decided to go with 2 of the items. One being the massive tingmo dumpling, which is basically a freshly made Tibetan steamed bread. I also decided to go with the salty butter tea. I mean, I'm not that accustomed to drinking butter tea, and judging by the top froth of the butter tea, it looks to be quite a rich one. Just absolute pleasure. You know, there's this feeling when you taste freshly made bread that honestly no other food can have. It both has this like warm but also freshly satisfying taste to it. If you look on the side of this tingmo, you can see like those air bubbles there, and that combined with the flakiness of the inside crust really shows how fresh this tingmo actually is. Butter tea is sometimes given a bad rep, but for me it takes that tea flavor and almost like increases the richness of it. Think about if you were drinking like very fresh, almost raw cow milk with tea. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's basically a very rich tea. From taking that crazy underground bus to meeting all the different vendors to having the locals be my literal guide around this incredible city, today was just an absolutely incredible day. But anyway, comment below the next city you guys want me to do this in. My thought is that whenever I visit a city, I want to do this challenge so I can get out and meet locals. I can get out and experience things that I normally wouldn't have experienced before. Oh man, that butter tea was heavy, man.